वेलकम बैक स्टूडेंट्स। तो आज का चैप्टर है प्लांट किंगडम। इससे पहले हमने पढ़ा था बायोलॉजिकल क्लासिफिकेशन, राइट? So before we move on to this chapter, let's have a quick revise of what we had learned in that chapter. So in that chapter we had learned about two kingdom classification, its advantages and disadvantages, five kingdom classification, its advantages, disadvantages, and what the five kingdoms were. We had done from Monera to fungi and a brief account of virus, virions, prions, and lichens. Plantae and Animalia were not done in details. So this chapter is all about Plantae. But before we dive into the Plantae kingdom exclusively or plant kingdom, there is a brief description of other systems of classifications and some other taxonomies given in your syllabus. So let's see them. जैसे इसके पहले वाले चैप्टर में आपने देखा था द टू किंगडम क्लासिफिकेशन विच वाज गिवन बाय हु? कैरोलस लिनियस, राइट? तो उसके डिसएडवांटेज क्या था? बिकॉज इट वाज बेस्ड ऑन मॉर्फोलॉजिकल कैरेक्टर्स। स्पेशली अगर हम अभी पूरा सिर्फ एंजियोस्पर्म्स का भी अगर देख लेते हैं तो एंजियोस्पर्म्स में भी ही हैड कंसीडर्ड व्हाट? द वेजिटेटिव कैरेक्टर्स एंड द सेक्सुअल कैरेक्टर्स लाइक द फीचर ऑफ द एंड्रोएशियम, राइट? द मेल रिप्रोडक्टिव पार्ट। तो इसके चलते क्या हुआ था? व्हाट वाज सीन? मेनी क्लोजली रिलेटेड स्पीशीज ऑफ एंजियोस्पर्म्स विद इन द एंजियोस्पर्म्स, से फॉर एग्जांपल, वेर प्लेस्ड फार अपार्ट, राइट? एंड देन उसमें हमने पढ़ा था फाइव किंगडम। So the classification that is based on morphological characters only, we all know that now it is called the artificial system of classification. तो यहाँ पे जैसे लिखा हुआ है artificial classification का disadvantage, equal weightage given to vegetative and reproductive characters. This is vegetative in short, okay? अब equal weightage, equal importance of vegetative characters, मतलब जो मॉर्फोलॉजिकल कैरेक्टर है उसको और रिप्रोडक्टिव पार्ट्स को और कैरेक्टर्स को देते हो, तो व्हाट कुड बी द डिसएडवांटेज? अब वेजिटेटिव कैरेक्टर्स जो है दे गेट वेरी इजीली इन्फ्लुएंस्ड बाय द एनवायरनमेंट। जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल हेटेरोफाइली इज अ फेनोमेनन। एक ही पेड़ के पत्ते डिपेंडिंग ऑन देयर एनवायरनमेंट शोज डिफरेंट मॉर्फोलॉजी। दिस इज जस्ट एन एग्जांपल ऑफ कि मॉर्फोलॉजी कैसे वेरी करता है डिपेंडिंग ऑन इट्स एनवायरनमेंट। So उसी के चलते what was the result? Closely related species were placed far apart, right? Then another system of classification was given, which is called natural classification. Clear? So let's see artificial versus natural classification. What are the differences? In natural classification, in natural system, what was considered? External characters, which means the morphology of the plant. उसके बाद in addition plus internal features. अब internal features में क्या क्या? The ultrastructure, anatomy of the plant, embryology, phytochemistry. Okay? Plus the natural affinities between the various groups. And this system of classification was given by George Bentham and J.D. Hooker. इसके अलावा और दो system of classification is given in your book. So we saw artificial and natural, artificial versus natural. उसके अलावा है phylogenetic classification given in your chapter. Phylogeny, the name itself says what? Evolution तो होगा ही, evolutionary relationships. So phylogenetic classification system is based on evolutionary relationship between various groups of organisms that you are classifying. Clear? Now when you are basing something on the evolutionary relationships, जाहिर सी बात है fossils are going to play a very important role. और इसमें one thing that is special is that all the organisms belonging to one taxa or one category is going to have a common ancestor. Ancestry उनकी common होगी. Clear? Phylogenetic classification was given by एक one was by John Hutchinson and another by Engler and Prandtl. उसके बाद आते हैं taxonomy में. There are 3 taxonomies given in your syllabus: cytotaxonomy, chemotaxonomy, and numerical taxonomy. So let's begin with cytotaxonomy. Cyto means what? Cell. And तो cell पे क्या देखते हैं? See, one thing always keep in mind, if you are basing your study on some principles, on some compounds or something specific, you will study all the aspects, but सबसे ज़्यादा importance किस पे दिया जाएगा? On the feature which is going to help you tell things apart, or which gives the uniqueness to the thing, right? जैसे cytotaxonomy में है, say for example, the structure of the cell. Cell में कौन सा वाले structure को देखा जाता है? Is it the structure of the mitochondria, or a chloroplast, or a ribosome, or the nucleus, or chromosomes? What? Certainly chromosomes, but why chromosomes? Say for example, you take cells from my body, you take cells from the body of an athlete, you take the cells from a body of a old sick man. अब हमारे सेल्स पे one thing that will be constant is the chromosome. Mitochondria उस athlete पे काफी ज्यादा होगा, मेरे में कम, और मेरे से भी ज्यादा उस old person में कम, right? If you take cells from any humans in random versus cells from any, say, monkey or chimpanzee, तो हम में अलग बहुत सबसे unique and अलग क्या होगा? The chromosomes, right? So cytotaxonomy is the taxonomy based on the chromosome structure, number, and behavior. Now, what decides the structure of the chromosome? It is the constriction or the centromere, right? Like this. बीच में metacentric, submetacentric, telocentric, okay? About this you will read in the cell chapter. So how the chromosomes are different structurally, what is the number is very unique, and it is unique to each and every species, and their behavior means what? How are they behaving in the division? Then let's move on to chemotaxonomy. Chemo means chemicals. अब chemicals में भी कौन से वाले chemicals को consider किए जाएंगे? The chemicals which is going to give the uniqueness to the group or the species that you are studying. It can be an aromatic compound, it can be some special proteins, it can be alkaloids, etc. Okay? Not common things like starch or cellulose. ये तो सभी में है. Then numerical taxonomy. Numerical taxonomy is what? It is very advanced and computer aided. Now in this what happens? All observable characters given number and codes. You observe, you take as many characters as you can. आपसे जितना हो सकता है आप सारे के सारे characters लीजिए. Assign them numbers, codes, feed it to the computer, and then you sit back and relax. आपका काम खत्म. The computer processes that data. And when the computer is processing the data, the processing is going to be way superior than what we humans can, right? तो इसका advantage ये होता है कि all the characters that you have given, whether you have given 10 characters, 100 or 500 characters, they all are considered giving equal weightage to each and every character. Clear, hai? So with this, we are done with the classification and the taxonomies that is given in your chapter. इसके बाद हम start करेंगे algae से. But what I think, before going to algae, I'm going to give you a brief notes or brief few lines on some of the commonly used terminologies. वो काफी बार अब use होने वाले हैं. If those terminologies are clear in your mind, understanding what you are reading becomes very easy for you. Okay? So let me do that first and then I'll move on to algae. Okay? So behind me is a list of very commonly used terms. Many of you know, but many of you may have confusion. So एक बार clear कर लेते हैं. Okay? So the term monoecious. अब monoecious जिस plant में male and female flowers एक साथ होंगे. That is why I have drawn male and female in the same plant. एक ही plant से उनका काम चल जाता है. Dioecious. Male and female plants are separate. अब यहाँ पे keep one thing in mind. Bisexual flowers have no role to play here. Who gets to decide? The unisexual flowers. Okay, because unisexual flowers किसी plant में the flowers may be unisexual, but the male and the female flowers are on the same plant. In that case, it becomes monoecious. Mono, single. And in dioecious, the plant bearing the male flower and the plant bearing the female flowers are also separate. जैसे papaya, okay? इसमें जैसे जिम्नोस्पर्म में है पाइनस और इन एंजियोस्पर्म्स क्यूकरबिटा, अलग अलग female and male flowers in the same plant. Then gametophyte. अब plants में gametophyte, sporophyte बार बार आने वाला है. So what is gametophyte? Gametophyte can be any phase of the plant or any part which is bearing the gametes direct. उनमें अब gametes आ गया है. Like it can be the part which has gamete and the next step उनका है to release the gametes. इसके बाद और कुछ नहीं. So that is called the gametophyte. It can be a phase or it can be the part of the plant also. Similarly, sporophyte, spore producing. अब gamete है तो it is always going to be haploid. Sporophyte है तो twice and the vegetative ones, right? Or depending on the plant, it can be like in lower plants जैसे bryophytes में meiosis zygote formation के बाद meiosis होता है. And then again the spores. So it can be twice N or N. Then sporophyll, especially in pteridophytes and gymnosperms. Pteridophytes में पत्ता जो common पत्ता है of the pteridophyte उसके नीचे spores होते हैं. Phyll means what? Phyll means a leaf. Okay, let me draw here. Like if you see a fern, इसके अंडर साइड अगर आप देखें, उल्टा करके देखेंगे, so you would see छोटे छोटे black dots. So these are spores on a leaf, thus a sporophyll. या तो फिर in gymnosperms, like the cone of a pinus, you would see a woody structure arranged in a cone. उसके base पे the spores are there. So these structures are called sporophyll. फिर sporogenous tissue. अब इसमें कई बार बच्चों को confusion होता है between sporogenous tissue, spore mother cell, spores. So try to understand this from the example of a coal mine, एक कोयले का खान. But what is sporogenous tissue? Tissue from which spores will be produced. जैसे कोयले का खान है, a coal mine. So consider that coal mine to be the sporogenous tissue. Clear? From there, what originates? The first is sporogenous tissue, ST. The spore mother cell, then the spores. So from a coal mine you get these big pieces of rock, big pieces of coal, then it is broken and final product is coal. So similarly sporogenous tissue, spore mother cell and then spores. This is the line it goes. Okay, then sporangium. यही sporogenous tissue, if it is enclosed in any body, तब उस body का नाम हो जाता है sporangium. Clear? Rhizoids. You will find this in bryophytes. These are root-like structures, but they are not true roots because they do not have vascular bundle. Then thalloid. Can you see? I think it is visible. Yeah. Thalloid, undifferentiated mass of tissue. In some algae and bryophytes, you would see structure like this. Flat, chapta, green or other colored. That is called thalloid. There is no much differentiation into branches. This branches or leaves, that is called thalloid, and thalloids are chapta and dorsiventral. Ab dorsiventral se students have a lot of confusion because the term dorsiventral has different meaning for humans, animals, leaves and this thalloid structure. So if you have taken a note of this, I'm going to wipe this off और dorsiventral को मैं बहुत अच्छे से समझा देती हूँ so that you don't have a confusion. पहले फर्स्ट यू सी, पहले समझ लो व्हाट इज डॉर्सी वेंट्रल. Ventral word comes from the Latin word venter, and venter means पेट या खाना. So let's begin with human. I am a human और मेरा पेट सामने की तरफ है. Okay? So this is going to be my ventral side. And dorsal तो फिर पीछे वाला. Clear है? So for humans, ventral is the सामने जिस तरफ पेट है, that is ventral. पीछे का तरफ is dorsal. Now if I happen to be an animal, a tetrapod on the fours, natural ही है, मेरा पेट नीचे की तरफ चला जाएगा जमीन की तरफ. So for dogs and cows, ventral side is the नीचे की तरफ, जिस तरफ उनका पेट है, और उनका पीठ ऊपर है. So that is dorsal for animals. Now for thalloid like this is the upper side is the dorsal, नीचे का side is ventral, जिस तरफ से rhizoids आ रहे हैं. Clear? But in angiosperms, leaf, in an angiosperm leaf, ऊपर का साइड इज वेंट्रल, नीचे का इज डॉर्सल. वाई सो? आप कभी भी अब एक लीफ उठा के देखिए, ऊपर का साइड इज ऑलवेज डार्कर ग्रीनर. क्लोरोफिल ऊपर की तरफ है. क्लोरोफिल मीन्स व्हाट? खाना. सो वेंट्रल साइड इज ऊपर का, नीचे का इज डॉर्सल. सो अब से प्लीज कीप इट इन माइंड, ह्यूमंस का वेंट्रल इज सामने, डॉर्सल इज पीछे. एनिमल्स का वेंट्रल इज नीचे, डॉर्सल इज ऊपर. एनिमल्स लाइक डॉग्स एंड काउज आई एम टॉकिंग ऑफ. डॉर्सोवेंट्रल थैलॉइड का डॉर्सल इज ऊपर, वेंट्रल इज नीचे, क्योंकि इनका भी क्लोरोफिल ऊपर ही है. फॉर डॉर्सीवेंट्रल लीफ इट अगेन बिकम्स उल्टा, वेंट्रल इज ऊपर, डॉर्सल इज नीचे. ओके, विद दिस आई थिंक दिस आर वेरी कॉमनली यूज्ड टर्म्स, बार बार आता रहेगा. सो आई हैव जस्ट गिवन यू अ ब्रीफ नोट. आई होप दिस हेल्प्स यू. अब हम एल्गी शुरू करते हैं. क्लियर? सो नाउ फाइनली एल्गी शुरू करते हैं. बट बिफोर आई स्टार्ट, वन रिमाइंडर टू यू ऑल स्टूडेंट्स. Please like this video, share with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Okay? So let's begin with algae. पहले एक general account and then the three groups: chlorophyceae, phaeophyceae and rhodophyceae. सबसे पहले देखते हैं algae के common features क्या हैं. What are the common features? Chlorophyllous. Chlorophyllous means what? They have chlorophyll, which makes them what? Photosynthetic. Chlorophyllous, photosynthetic means what? Autotrophic, right? Their body simple or thalloid, undifferentiated हो सकता है. Habitats को देखते हैं. Largely aquatic, पानी में होने वाला, फ्रेश वाटर भी हो सकता है या मराइन भी हो सकता है, या तो फिर moist. Mark this word, not just soil. The soil has to be moist. Means there has to be a thin film of water. Wood, stone, जहां पे भी गीलापन है, soil हो, stone हो, wood हो, algae may grow. They are found in association with fungi. This is with, where do you get to see them? Lichens. Here they are in a symbiotic relationship, right? Symbiosis. And also in animal, sloth bear. This is important. Keep this in mind because in MCQ you may be asked, what are the following habitats of algae, or in which animal algae is found? It is sloth bear. फिर इनका size देखते हैं. Their size is highly variable. Means what? काफी variety देखने को मिल सकता है. From colonial, say for example volvox. Volvox is individually a small unicellular algae, but वो individually कभी रहते नहीं हैं. They all come together, enclose themselves in a gel-like structure, and they form colony. या तो फिर they are filamentous. Filamentous means what? Thread-like. और large bodies like kelps. ये kelps किसको कहते हैं? Wait. The brown algae which are marine, some of them show huge plant structure, like bodies, huge structure. They Kelps, like they form a holdfast, a stipe, and a huge leaf-like or a huge body-like structure which is called the frond. उसको collectively kelps कहा जाता है. The brown algae showing massive structures, and the structure is this. या तो फिर you can see them like in Kara, this kind of differentiation in Polysiphonia also. You may see beautiful branching and small leaf-like structures coming out of it. Okay, so algae के sizes are highly variable, colonial to these kind of shapes and sizes. Now the pigments that are found in algae, chlorophyll A is universal to all the algae. Chlorophyceae, rhodophyceae, phaeophyceae तीनों में है. B, C, D may vary depending on which group. Then other pigments like xanthophyll, carotenoid, they are found, and other etc. Okay. Vegetative reproduction इनमें fragmentation से होता है. The thalloid breaks, each broken piece give rise to a new plant. Asexual reproduction occurs by many kind of spores. Many kind of. Okay. Zoospore is not the exclusive. Please do not be confused. Different kind of spores. मैं यहाँ लिख देती हूँ. I think I should write different kind of spores. Whenever you read the book, please keep these keywords in mind. Different kind of spores. Common क्या है? Common is zoospore. Which zoospore means common zoospore. These spores are going to be motile. Motile है तो flagella भी होगा. Then let's come to their sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction में isogamous. Iso means what? Same. Gamous, तो दोनों gametes के size and morphology is same. They may be motile, they may be non-motile. So that is called isogamous. कहाँ देखने को मिलता है? Spirogyra में, Eulotrix में. Spirogyra में it is non-motile, Eulotrix में it is motile. Anisogamy. Iso से पहले an लग गया है, which means that the gametes are not going to have same morphology. They are going to be morphologically different. Seen in Eudorina. Oogamous. Oogamous is what? The male gamete is going to be motile. The male gamete is going to swim up to the female reproductive sex organ, which is the oogonia. उसके अंदर वो egg रहता है, the female gamete. It goes and it fertilizes it there. From here we start seeing the evolution. The male gamete going up to the female gamete. यहाँ पे क्या है? दोनों ही तैरते हैं. Okay. Oogamous. We get to see in fucus, volvox, fucus, and members of rhodophyceae. Clear? Now, when we are talking of spores, this zoospores, yeah, like we have talked this as Eulotrix में जैसे spores are motile, this means flagella. अब algae के flagella can vary from anywhere between 2 to 8. Clear? The flagella may be apical or lateral. ये जो differences है that we will see when we are studying the individual groups. Clear? This is a general account on algae. Now let us look at their importance. अच्छा एक और importance भी वो point आ जाएगा. Algae is responsible for fixing more than 50 or almost about 50%. I think it's in your book. क्या दिया हुआ है? More than या 50? Yeah, at least half of. So means at least जब दिया हुआ it's more than 50% of the carbon dioxide of the earth is fixed by algae. Importance number 1. Algae कहाँ होता है? They occur in aquatic environment. तो पानी में तो when they are fixing carbon dioxide, they are photosynthetic, aerobic photosynthetic. तो क्या देने वाले हैं? Oxygen. So when they give oxygen in water, what is it going to do? It is going to increase the amount of dissolved oxygen in water, right? So it increases dissolved oxygen in water, which is its environment, fixes carbon dioxide Some of the algae, like the brown and the red algae, they have these hydrocolloids in their cell wall. Hydrocolloid means what? It is a colloidal structure which holds water. Gel-like appearance देता है. So brown and red algae are especially important for their hydrocolloids. Especially ये अगर AGAR, that is extracted from two members of Rhodophyceae or the red algae, Gelidium and Gracilaria. So they are important source of hydrocolloid. Hydrocolloid कहाँ use होता है? Agar, where is it used? Jelly in labs for making the growing medium, ice creams as a smoothener, as a thickener. Okay. Important source of hydrocolloids. Then Gelidium, Gracilaria. Important source of agar. Okay. Some algae like chlorella. They are an important important health supplement. Not just by you supplement. People use it on Earth as well as in space also. I mean, not people, space travelers use. This is rich in protein. Iske alawa, their importance is like they are the chief fixes. Yeah, these are the important features of algae. One of the negative things is that algal bloom, जो हमने blue-green algae में पढ़ा, Monera में भी पढ़ा था. Those algae, when they grow too much, overgrow in polluted waters, they cause pollution. Okay. So with this, we are done with the general feature of algae. इसके बाद हम इनके एक-एक groups को देखेंगे. So let's begin with Chlorophyceae. Chlorophyceae is the green algae. Okay. Let's look in details. तो अब देखते हैं Chlorophyceae, which is commonly called green algae. Why? Because of their color green, their appearance, which is green. What are the pigments? One is chlorophyll A, another is chlorophyll B. फिर इनके पहले हम कुछ general structures देख रहे थे, then we will move on to the reproduction. Flagella. This group is known to have some members have flagella, or the gametes or the spores they produce may have flagella. Flagella कैसा होगा? What will be the number? Between 2 to 8. Apical and equal, which means इनके top में the flagella is going to be fixed. They are going to be equal in length. Okay. Equal in length. It can vary from 2 to up to 8. Clear hai? Then size. Unicellular, colonial, filamentous, plant-like. Unicellular Chlamydomonas. Example is what? Chlamydomonas. Let's look at how it looks. This is Chlamydomonas, unicellular with flagella. इस पे अभी मैं आऊंगी. Wait. Volvox. I have already explained. Individual volvox are छोटे-छोटे flagellates alga. Okay, but they are never individuals. सब साथ में चले आते हैं, and then they form a gel-like gelatinous colony. Clear? That is volvox. Filamentous. Two examples hai. One is Spirogyra, another is Eulotrix. How will you tell them apart? In Eulotrix, this is the cell wall. The cells are more or less squarish type. This diagram is given in your book. What is unique about Spirogyra is their cells are long, rectangular, and their speciality is their ribbon-like or spiral chloroplast. Okay. Plant-like Cara. They have a well developed body like this. Okay, branching दिखाते हैं you, appendages, leaf like appendages दिखाते हैं. These are not true leaves, these are just structure. Branching दिखाते हैं. So can you see the variety from a unicellular to a plant like body? Now another unique feature of chlorophyceae is chloroplast. उनके chloroplast काफी तरह के shapes पे होते हैं. Cup shaped, ये Chlamydomonas में है. Do you see this? Chlamydomonas is known for two things. One is it is unicellular motile flagellate member of Chlorophyceae and a cup-shaped chloroplast. Clear? Discoid हो सकता है, plate like हो सकता है, ribbon like या spiral, जैसे मैंने Spirogyra में दिखाया. Long rectangular cells, chloroplast is spiral. So please remember Spirogyra for this. Filamentous with spiral or ribbon like chloroplast. Then, yeah, these are the some structures. Then reticulate we have. Okay. So chloroplasts show huge diversity. And chloroplast का और एक speciality और एक feature, important characteristic of chloroplast of Chlorophyceae is storage bodies. Chloroplast के अंदर storage bodies होता है. These storage bodies are called pyrenoids. Storage body है तो कुछ ना कुछ store करेगा. What do they store? They store the food. What are the two foods they store? They store starch plus protein. Is this clear? So chloroplast of Chlorophyceae is known for various shapes. Cup shaped is Chlamydomonas, ribbon like is Spirogyra. ये दो examples आप याद रखिए. Please remember these two examples. And they are known for food storage body or storage body which stores food. What it stores? Starch plus protein. फिर आ जाते हैं उनके cytoplasm में. They also store food as oil droplets, but this is not within the pyrenoid. This is outside of pyrenoid. Okay. Then let us look at their cell wall. The inner layer is cellulose और बाहर का the outer one is made of pectin. Clear है? इसके बाद हम देखते हैं इनके vegetative reproduction को. Vegetative reproduction takes place by fragmentation. Clear? Vegetative reproduction, fragmentation. थैलस टूटा नहीं कि फिलामेंट टूटा नहीं कि नया बना लेते हैं. स्मार्ट algae, right? They make the best of the worst, best use of the worst thing that can happen to them. Asexual reproduction by zoospores. Zoospores है तो motile, okay, flagellated. Zoospores are produced within bodies called zoosporangium. These are the zoospores. This is the zoosporangium. Now let us look into their sexual reproduction. Isogamous. कहाँ देखने को मिलता है? Two gametes are same in morphology. One is eulotrix. Eulotrix में gametes are motile. Please note it down. And Spirogyra में they are non-motile. Spirogyra, non-motile means no flagella. Anisogamous, unequal morphology of the gametes. Eudorina. Clear? The gametes may be flagellated or non-flagellated. Morphology size will be different. फिर oogamous. Volvox shows oogamous reproduction. Clear? So with this we are done with the member Chlorophyceae and a few important Examples are Cara, Eudorina, Eulotrix, Pyrogyra, Chlamydomonas. One thing important about Chlamydomonas is a green algae, but in 5 kingdom classification, Chlamydomonas was removed from algae and placed in Protista. Okay. Now let us move on to the next group, which is Phaeophyceae. Phaeophyceae or the brown alga. Okay. So now let's look into brown algae or Phaeophyceae. इनके habitats क्या हैं? Let me underline it so that it's easy for you to see. Primarily marine. अधिकतर. Most of the species are marine. Habit. Habit means what? There's morphology in general. पहले I would like to say about the color. Okay, because this shows जैसे in Chlorophyceae they were green. Okay, but here the color varies. It varies from olive green to various shades of brown. The pigments, chlorophyll A is universal for all photosynthetic plants, right? तो chlorophyll A तो होना ही है. In addition to A, there is chlorophyll C, carotenoids, xanthophyll. Now this color, who gives them this various shades of brown? It is a special pigment, fucoxanthin. Okay, it's a type of xanthophyll. And क्या है? Depending on इनका quantity, कितना ज़्यादा है, कितना कम है, the shades of brown is decided. Cell wall is inner cellulose. Cellulosic cell wall है, उसके ऊपर एक hydrocolloid layer होता है. That is called angine. फिर the cell. Cell has general organelles जैसे plastids and all, but what is noteworthy, इनके special characteristic क्या है? A centrally located vacuole and a nucleus. Vacuole पहले आएगा. बिल्कुल center पे you will find a vacuole. Then nucleus. Clear? These are the speciality. Stored foods. Stored food is stored in the form of complex carbohydrates. क्या है? Laminarin या mannitol. These are the names. What are they? By nature they are complex carbs. मैं यहाँ पे short पे लिख रही हूँ carbs. Okay? You please note it down as carbohydrate. फिर forms. This group is known for showing its variety of forms. Forms जैसे simple filamentous ectocarpus हो सकता है या तो फिर large plant body like marine water पे जो होता है जिसे kelps कहा जाता है. Let's look at few important examples. First one is laminary, and these diagrams are very important. These species may not be individually described in your book. आपकी किताब में शायद individually लिखा नहीं है, but these diagrams are given, and these diagrams have a lot of info in them and important for your exam. Laminaria में देखते हैं एक बड़ा सा पत्ता सा lamina. Okay? एक stipe hold fast क्या जो उसको substratum में लगा के रखता है, which attaches the algae to the substratum. Then stipe, it is the connection between the holdfast and the lamina frond, sorry. ठीक है? Then let's come to fucus. Fucus is interesting. Do you see the tip? It shows very a typical dichotomous like V-type branching at the apex. इसमें एक midrib है. Do you see the midrib? And they have these air bladders on the front that gives them the buoyancy. Stipe and holdfast. Okay. Then dictyota. Dictyota is beautifully and dichotomously branched. This is the frond. The frond is beautifully dichotomously branched. फिर stipe है. What is missing? जो इन दोनों में है, इस पे नहीं है. That is the holdfast. Holdfast नहीं है. Okay, so that's a sessile one. Clear? So this is the general account of the Phaeophyceae. Now let's look into their reproduction part. Reproduction, vegetative though by fragmentation, asexual and sexual spores. इनके spores जो है, let me wipe it first and then it will be easy for me to explain. Okay. So now their reproduction. Begin with vegetative reproduction. Vegetative is common for all. Fragmentation. तोड़ दो, reproduce new one. Okay. Asexual reproduction is by zoospores. Zoospores means again motile. यहाँ पे the gametes are pear shaped. Okay. or two flagella and they are unequal or laterally inserted. Keep this difference in mind with chlorophyce. Chlorophyce में the number can be anywhere between 2 to 8 apical, सर के ऊपर and equal in length. Here it's unequal. Lateral, unequal. Clear? Sexual reproduction, we get to see three types. Isogamous and isogamous as well as oogamous. यहाँ पे the gametes are pear shaped. वो भी वैसा ही होता है almost. Pear shaped या peach shaped with laterally inserted flagella. This is the uniqueness of the gametes of Phaeophyce, oogamous. Oogamous में one thing is, oogamous में what? The male gamete always swims up to the oogonia, right? यहाँ पे either it swims up to the oogonia, but the oogonia is formed, but in some of the species the female gamete comes out and the fusion happens in the water. तो जैसे जैसे हम evolution देख रहे हैं, पहले पहले क्या था? Iso या anisogamous, where both the gametes were equally motile. बाहर they used to get fertilized or fused. Then we are seeing that oogamous is coming into play. तो oogamous में here we get to see some differences, like it's धीरे धीरे advance हो रहा है. तो in some the male is going up to the female gamete in the oogonia where it is fixed, या तो फिर कहीं पे oogonia form हो गया but the female gamete has not been fixed there. Okay. With this we are done with the reproduction. इसके बाद इसके कुछ important examples: Ectocarpus, Laminaria, Sargassum, Fucus, Dictyota. These two are edible, marine and edible. Okay. इसके अलावा और एक है Porphyra, which is a red algae that is also edible, and it is in the importance of algae. आपके किताब में दिया हुआ है 3 species: SLP, Sargassum, Laminaria and Porphyra. Sargassum and Laminaria are brown algae, Porphyra is a red one. Now the last family, which is red family, Rhodophyceae. Rhodophyceae for red algae. Let's look into it in details. So now the final one, red algae or Rhodophyceae. Rhodophyceae are majority of them are marine. Now marine pe one interesting thing is you may find them at the surface level, पानी के सतह पे, on the surface, okay, of the oceanic water or deep waters, deep inside, where light with less light means where light penetration is less, sunlight ज़्यादा जाता नहीं हो. They are found at different depth. This means, but it is going to be found always in warmer region. Clear है? So the oceanic region is going to be warmer. Depths can be variable, surface as well as inner depths. Clear? Pigments. Chlorophyll A universal because photosynthetic है, तो A is going to be universal. Then there is chlorophyll D, and they are red because of this pigment are phycoerythrin, red color that is given due to this pigment. फिर habit. They are multicellular, branched, thalloid, या तो फिर they can show complex organization like Polysiphonia. अभी दिखाती हूँ. Like this is Porphyra. This is frond. Okay, the diagram is given in your book. You can refer to that diagram. मैं यहाँ जो diagrams draw कर रही हूँ, I know they are not the best because I don't have a very good drawing skill. But समझाने के लिए जितना हो सकता है, I'm trying to give you an idea. But यहाँ lectures के साथ, please refer to the diagrams given in your book. So this is the frond. There is no stipe or hold fast there. This is Polysiphonia. It is beautifully branched. Red alga. Clear? Do you see the beautiful thin filamentous branched? Okay. Speciality of the cell walls. Cell walls contain cellulose, pectin, then additionally polysulfate of esters. Now this cell wall is enclosed, covered by a hydrocolloid, and here the hydrocolloid is called algin. Okay, so this is the cell wall, outer covering is algin. This is the cell wall. Okay, cell wall. Outer covering is algin. This is algin, the gelatinous layer outside the cell wall. Stored food, यहाँ पे क्या? The stored food is also carbohydrate, which is called Floridian starch. It is similar to, this means this similar to amylopectin and glycogen. Okay, so these are the general features of rhodophysi. Now their vegetative reproduction. Fragmentation is like other two. Vegetative reproduction भी यहाँ fragmentation के through होता है. The asexual reproduction occurs by non-motile spores, no flagella, and the sexual reproduction is only of oogamous type. Clear? Let me wipe it. यहाँ पे लिखती हूँ. तो यहाँ पे हम क्या देखते हैं? No flagella and sexual reproduction. All members show oogamous type of reproduction. So याद है, when I was writing a general account, I had written oogamous पे volvox, fucus and all members of rhodophysi. Clear है? That includes Porphyra, Polysiphonia. Keep this in mind for your MCQs. So VR is by fragmentation. Asexual reproduction by non-motile spores. Sexual reproduction is also oogamous. Non-motile gametes. So water current is required. Non-motile gametes. Or SPE. The post-fertilization development is complex. They show complex post-fertilization development. So that is, 1 minute. They show, this is a feature of this family. Please note it down. Complex post-fertilization development. Okay. Important members are Porphyra, Polysiphonia, given in your book. So with this, we are done with a general, with the algae, group algae. If we compare, let us look down into the different features. There is a table given in your book. Chlorophysi, chloro, I am writing in short, pheo, rhodo. Okay. Pigments, cell wall, stored food, flagella, reproduction, sexual one. Okay. Pigments, chlorophyll A and B. Chlorophyll A and C. Chlorophyll A and D. Common here, in addition to A and C, they have xanthophyll and carotenoid. Clear? Here are phycoerythrin. Phycoerythrin. Cell wall, cellulose, pectin, cellulose. Outer covering is a hydrocolloid, which is carrageen, right? This is not a part of the cell wall, but just the outer covering. Keep this in mind. यहाँ पे it is cellulose, pectin, and cellulose हो गया, pectin हो गया, polysulfate esters. Covered by algin. The hydrocolloid outside the cell wall is algin. Stored food, यहाँ पे there is a storage body. Please, storage body, pyrenoid. Pyrenoid, which stores protein plus starch or oil droplets, full stop, oil droplets in cytoplasm, right? यहाँ पे it is laminarin और mannitol, complex carbs, CARBS in short. यहाँ पे it is Floridian starch, okay? Flagella 2 to 8 equal apical. Only 2 lateral unequal. Absent. Iso, aniso, oogamous. Same for Phaeophyceae, only oogamous in Rhodophyceae. Okay, so this is a comparative table. Clear? This table is given in your book. Read from there. पर यहाँ पे मैंने लिख दिया है and I have tried to explain. Like cell wall है तो cellulose तीनों में ही है. Pectin है. Outer यहाँ पे carrageen is not a part of the cell wall but is an outer covering. Carrageen covering. Hydrocolloid covering. Okay. Hydrocolloid. Same applies to this also. यहाँ पे so oil droplet, इससे क्या पता चलता है? Oil droplets is found where? In the Chlorophyceae. Here, not here. The stored foods are carbohydrates. Here it is a complex carbohydrate by the name of laminarin and mannitol. यहाँ पे Floridian starch. Flagella इस पे absent है. सबसे ज्यादा इस पे है. Then as we go down, we see a reduction in the number of flagella. Reproduction तीनों ही तरह के दोनों Rhodophyceae as well as Chlorophyceae and Phaeophyceae में देखने को मिलता है, तो इस पे सिर्फ ओगैमी है. So with this we are done with algae. इसके बाद है bryophytes. But before we start bryophyte, before I start bryophyte, students, you are new to me and I am new to you. So please subscribe to my channel. Please like and share this video. Okay? इसके बाद bryophytes.